AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV Scandal After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV Scandal After Show.
Gladiators around the world, rejoice because Scandal is back, which means that your AfterBuzz TV crew is back as well, and we are so very happy to be here. This was episode 16, top of the hour. As always, I'm your host, Emile Ennis Jr., and I'm joined here with three amazing hosts, starting with...
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Kennelia.
Hi, I'm Sofia Stanley.
Bamm Ericsen.
And like I said, we're very excited to be here. We're not going to do a scandal pace tonight. We're just going to go ahead and get right into it. Did this episode give you everything you needed since we were gone for 3 weeks?
It felt like we were gone for 3 years. I'm sorry, 3 years.
It was the longest break ever, but it definitely made me appreciate the show because I was dying while it was over.
Yeah, no.
I'm a huge TV fan, so stuff like this happens. You know, last year when I watched Desperate House, like, it happened. So, like,
Bam, you watched Desperate Housewives?
I did. But everyone, like, freaks out like this happens. Like, you guys get used to it because Scandal's going to be on for a couple seasons, and we are going to go in 2-3 weeks where we don't see new episodes.
I know.
Wait, no. Are we? I thought, maybe my math is off. I thought that because of this long stretch and because of the long stretch for December, that if there's 16, so right, there's 6 left,
There's
right?
6 left, yeah.
And when is this season ending?
May.
Oh no, Bam's right.
Yeah.
Bam's right.
So the season normally ends roughly around May 15th, the 20th, like the second or third week in May.
I guess it's just hard to deal with these breaks, especially when you have shows like House of Cards on Netflix. Now you can watch the whole season in one viewing. Yeah. Which, check out Sofia Stanley on the House of Cards after show. Quick plug here. That's an amazing show for all you Scandal fans. But let's go ahead and get started. So we had an interesting storyline. I definitely enjoyed this storyline, and I felt like it meshed better than last week's storyline, or not last week, 3 weeks ago. Boom, goes to Dynamite. We have this Supreme Court nominee who has an affair with RightCorp CEO, and then her life is about to change because the paparazzi's outside of her door and they're about to turn into this big scandal. My issue is with her and with the Supreme Court nominee, when you're in such a high position, not necessarily with her, but especially with the nominee, when you're in such a high position and you know that you have to know that your life is going to be exposed. I just don't understand why in these situations it's going to come out. Like, the truth is going to come out. If you're going to put yourself in that position.
It was 15 years ago. So there comes a point when you figure, well, damn, 5 years, 10 years, 15, you know what? I think we're good.
But this is the age of media.
Exactly.
This is the age of media. People always have their own agenda. So take the fact that media can get a hold of it. There's always some little scrub somewhere,
little
Pop-Tart somewhere who remembers they had this affair. He wants his 5 minutes of fame. He sells your info to TMZ. Like, now everybody is trying to get on. So with that, you have to, in the back of your mind, have to think maybe it's gonna come out.
But 15 years ago, they weren't thinking that was back in 1998.
All it takes is a story today.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually agree with Bam in the same point that 15 years ago, if not for the emails, this actually wouldn't have been a story. And presumably the only reason 15 years ago they were so email savvy is because they were at an academic institution such as Harvard. So if they hadn't been emailing back and forth, and presumably even texts that far back aren't on a server like they are today. So there would have actually been no evidence to then fuel the story. And ironically, even though I agree with you in the same point that everything comes out now, I mean, didn't we just have a potential presidential candidate a couple years ago? who somehow, I won't name it, but we all know who it is, who thought he wasn't going to get caught, and he not only had an affair, but had a child out of wedlock when his wife was dying of cancer, and he actually legitimately thought that he was going to be able to be president of the United States of America, and put it underneath the rug and say that it was his AIDS mistress.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? So the actual emotional state of thinking you can keep it secret, I don't think that's strange for a human being, as well as the fact that I think that on some levels you actually really do forget about it. I think you really actually do push it down so it's no longer on the forefront of your mind.
Mm-hmm. She didn't forget, though. She had that baby. So she knew, like, you know what I mean? This is solid evidence. She had a kid walking around her house for 13 years by this dude.
Mm-hmm. And she said, when Father's Day come up, it gets into her mind, but she obviously has to suppress it.
But she's not the issue. The issue really for the initial aspect of the affair is the judge. Mm-hmm. The judge and anyone who is at that level to then potentially be a Supreme Court justice knows the vetting process, right? In the same way that, we've seen it. We saw it obviously with, and I can't remember the title of the episode, but it's the one with the mistress from season 1.
Yeah. Season 1.
Wait, was it season 1 or season 2? I'm
with
sorry. No, with the madam. I apologize. With the madam. Sorry, it's been so long. My brain's getting mixed up. But think about it. That's exactly when they found it, right? And again, they did an extensive vetting process, and they were like, "Oh, but we thought he was vetted. We thought he was vetted," and that's why Fitz had to have the conversation with him. You should have disclosed this to us. But technically, their vetting process didn't catch it. It was a Democratic vetting process that found it. So the first phase didn't catch it. It was only because the Democrats were like, no, we don't want this Republican candidate going through. So they kept digging.
Okay, I want to go just a little further. Mm-hmm. When Olivia confronted the two as a couple and said, tell me everything, I need to know everything.
Right.
She didn't tell everything. She didn't reveal that.
Are you talking about Sarah?
Yes, Sarah did not reveal that the affair went on past the 2 years. And what I had admired about this episode was how it was a breath of fresh air that it was opposite. So now you had the man that was actually supporting his woman, although she was, she did her wrongdoing, he was there, he was going to support her, he had her back, he was there.
Now let me know if I'm wrong with this. He did know about the affair at one point, right?
No,
or he didn't know anything?
He didn't know anything.
Because what I thought was, which I guess I'm wrong now, but I thought that he knew about the affair. He just didn't know it extended past that time. Okay.
What she lost me when, Sarah lost me when she only told some of the truth. She lost me then because I think that he would have been a lot more forgiving had she told everything. So now you tell the truth. Okay, I cheated, I did this. But now the big lie was that she continued the affair, and now the kid possibly may not be hers. And for a man, we need to compare this to now their relationship with Fitz, because he felt the same way that Fitz felt, which is the whole being lied to and the betrayed. And I felt like if she would have just told everything, I think the situation could have gone a little bit better, because I didn't really appreciate that whole thing that Olivia was doing, with the, telling a little girl, he's still going to be your daddy. We'll talk about that later, but I felt like that if she would have just told the entire truth, we didn't need to hear that little dumb Olivia speech.
Here's the thing. She should just listen from the beginning, because when Olivia told her at the beginning, she does her long spiel to all her clients, and she tells them that you need to tell the truth, like your whole life's about to change, you're about to be exposed. I get where she's coming from, but if Sarah would have listened, I don't think she fully understood what Olivia was saying, because especially with the Supreme Court nominee, and he has Cyrus and the president backing him, and Cyrus obviously didn't want.
What's so difficult about tell me everything?
Because what she did was
to protect the situation.
What she did was she told enough to the point where she thought that was going to be enough where it would end the whole situation. She didn't think that they were going to go deeper. She thought that after she confessed and said that she had the affair, because according to what she figured Olivia could do, she thought that after she told everyone in the public that she had the affair, that it would be over from there, it would be squashed. There might be a little more conversation about it. That's what I got from it.
Because think about it this way. I totally agree that, she should have told everything. But if you take the show aspect out of it and put yourself in that situation. Soon as she opened, the daughter opened the front door, everybody's there. The news, everybody's interviewing. You have like a total of 30 minutes I'm just estimating, from the time you figured out that they were on your lawn to Olivia Pope getting at your house. As soon as she comes in the door, she says, "Tell me everything." At that one moment, you have to decide, do I just tell them that I had an affair, or do I tell my husband I had an affair, kept having an affair, and when he realizes when I kept having the affair, he's gonna put the timetable together, and then he's gonna realize that the kid that I called his may not be his. She made that decision within 1 second. She didn't have time to sit here and like, okay, give me 2 hours to go upstairs and think about it. No, she had to make it at that moment. So to her, she was probably thinking, stuff about to hit the fan. Let me tell you I had the affair, but if I give you everything, then I'm blowing the whole family up to pieces.
But this is the thing is, I actually agree with what everyone's saying, but I think that there's 2 pieces that were most troubling for me. The first one is Olivia. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The timetable was too short because of Olivia. It is Olivia's job to inform them that not only is their life going to change, but to really make sure that they understand. She didn't seem to have the normal, long, drawn-out conversation that she normally has, right? She kind of was like, tell me everything as they're standing in the kitchen. Don't you maybe sit them down? You know what I mean? You communicate like, I need to know everything because of this, this, and this, right? So that's kind of the first part of it. I don't think she did her job. And I think that the time period between that and when they went to press conference was way too quick. Because to me, they hadn't done their homework. How are you going to have a press conference and release that, you know, she had an affair with him without kind of doing your due diligence? Like at that point, she could have really been making it up. Like there could have been so many other things that we're not aware of. We could also not know that she could have in fact been a crazy stalker. And Olivia didn't have a handle on that. But for me, the most telling moment was when they were in the kitchen and the way that the husband basically put his hand on her shoulder and said, no, do it, i.e. the press conference. And he said, it was 15 years ago, basically meaning that we've built a life together. So regardless, that's not an issue. I forgive you for that. And she goes, like, really? At that moment, she should have recognized that she had an amazing partner, right? That she's lied to on so many different levels. And at that time, she should recognize this is going to come out. Tell your husband, because at that moment he's saying, I'm okay with looking like the bad end of a joke. I'm okay, even though, as we find out later, that I'm this, you know, absolutely amazing father who ends up tearing up the paternity test to put our children through this. Why? Because you need to get this off your chest so that we as a family can move on. That was, I think, the line in the sand when she should have stopped and said to Olivia, I need a moment. Do I understand emotionally that it was so charged? Yes, but that was, for me, that was where I was very uncomfortable.
I agree.
Yeah. Good.
Going back to what you were saying about Olivia, though, do you feel that Olivia is off her game?
Yes.
Because I think the thing that bothered me is I understand it's her client, but because the White House was involved and Cyrus was involved and then obviously Fitz is involved, I feel like because of that, in fact, everybody's turned into like a mini game. It's a game. Nobody's really doing their job anymore. They're doing their job, but it's all with the underlying motive. Oh, let me do this so I can get back at this person. Oh, let me do this so I can get back at this person. With Melly, with Cyrus, every single person is doing this little game here. And I don't like how it's being played because everybody needs to get back to doing their job and doing their job. So, and Olivia, especially, she's not only playing this game, but I'm sick of her using her clients and I guess helping to have it like a therapy session with her personal life.
For herself, yeah.
She did this with the mistress. She did this with the guy in last week's episode or 3 weeks ago episode. Like, I get it, Olivia, but you need to, I'm about to curse. She needs to get through it. It's bothering me because this is your job. Like, get through it.
Well, it doesn't bother me because it makes for a great show. But she's off her game because she should have knew that Cyrus. She already knows that Cyrus is in the poorhouse with the president. So she should have knew that Cyrus was going to do anything in order to get back on Fitz's side by exposing and making this and making Sarah to be the bad woman. She should have knew that. But also, what bothers me is I felt Olivia was out of pocket to tell that little girl that her daddy was that her father was gonna always be her father. Like, that was not a conversation that she should have had with that little girl, because you don't.
Well, that situation was a tough spot, because either you sit there and you try to console the little girl, or you just walk away. You know what I mean? Like, that whole situation was tough, because you're the stranger. Olivia was thrown into this situation. It wasn't private at all. So the little girl, of course, she came home from school. She's like, dang, like, the kids at school are saying that's not my real dad. It would have been shady if Olivia would have been like, yeah, girl, you're right, and would have walked up the steps. But it was still weird how she sat down and said that. But out of the two options, what she did was the better option.
But what if she said that, like, your father's always gonna be your father, and then he changed his mind and just decides to walk out?
Thank you. That's my point. She should have.
You see what I mean?
Okay, and the funny thing is, I agree with what you're saying, but let's assume that he is her biological father, or any biological father. Even biological fathers walk out.
Yeah.
So regardless of him walking out, and that's why even I think that, you know, towards the end of the episode, the table scene is so important, because basically what Olivia is trying to communicate to the father is that regardless of that piece of paper, it doesn't give you a free pass to walk out. Like, if you stay because you want to. If you leave because you want to. If you want to continue to be a father, it's because you're a father. And if you don't, then you don't want to. And I think that the most important part is that even if the premise was because he thought that child was biologically his, he still has raised the child for 13 years. And more importantly, he's done an absolutely amazing job. And I think that's why that moment, and even, you know, if in the future he ends up getting a paternity test, it doesn't matter. But what it's really saying is that there's a place that has nothing to do with, quote unquote, the foundation, right? And I think that's always what this show is about. This show is always about the title versus acting upon something, right? So regardless of whether or not he legitimately or biologically has the title of father or biological dad, he has been the father based on his actions. And that's the juxtaposition for the show all the time, his title versus action.
In that speech, I felt Olivia. I felt she was saying what she said to the father.
The speech at the table.
The speech at the table. I felt like she was saying that because based off her current situation, Fitz hasn't forgiven her, so she wants him to forgive her, because she knows the pain that it feels of betraying someone. So I felt like that speech was all about her and really not them.
Well, the thing that bothered me more about it wasn't private. Like, they've been in this house this whole time. Of course, she was trying to fix the situation. But when it's something that serious, where it's him finding out if he's the father of the daughter, Olivia and Harrison, take a hike.
Well,
go give them some family time. For her to sit there, and they were sitting there like a panel. Mm-hmm. Like, her and Harrison were like, like,
well,
why are you sitting there?
I think Abby was there too, right? At least Abby looked down. Harrison looked down a little bit.
Abby was there.
But Olivia, like, leaned in.
She was like waiting.
It's very inappropriate.
That was inappropriate. I didn't like that. Olivia, go have a cold drink.
You know what? I'm gonna play devil's advocate just for a second. Maybe she's doing that because she's still doing her job, right? Because she needs all this to basically be wrapped up in one news cycle, right? Presumably, if the husband ends up divorcing her, if there actually is somehow a leak of the paternity test, then the story keeps going. So maybe she actually is kind of forcing them into a situation on purpose. Just a thought.
But then you say your speech, and then you give them, you can go in the kitchen.
No, but I think she purposely wasn't.
Yeah.
I agree. But just for the playing devil's advocate, maybe she purposely wasn't because she wanted the reaction that she wanted, because she wanted to know that they're a cohesive family unit, because that makes for a better client. The story's done. The affair was the affair. It's their kid. Move on.
I don't think that her job is to fix the family. I think her job is to fix the situation that's going on.
But I get what you're saying, though, because
I do get what you're saying. Maybe because I'm a man, maybe I don't like the way it ended. I felt that Olivia kind of pushed their relationship back together, and I think that they needed time.
But arguably, nobody can make anyone do anything. So once Olivia leaves, we have no idea what's going to happen.
That's true.
But I think that even though, you know, there are moments that I have issue, let's say, with Olivia, just like you said, Emile kind of playing therapy with her clients, arguably what she says 99.9% of the time it's correct. Her actual intellectual and emotional moral compass, I think, is on point. So even, let's say, with the little girl, I actually didn't have a problem with it. I didn't even have a problem with the speech at the table, because really what she's saying is like, you guys have built something. Things aren't perfect. At this moment, you need to decide, do you want to punish each other, or do you think that the sum of what you have, the good pieces, are good enough to potentially work on? Not definitively so, but at least enough that you're going to let some time go by before you make some major decisions of this family that you've created. I think it's sound. I even think it's sound in terms of her and Fitz, because at the end of the day, she did do it based on what she thought was best, right? And at the end of the day, isn't that all that we are? We make the best decisions from who we are and the information we have at a given time.
Yeah.
If we all could, if I had to go back through my life and now with the wisdom that I have, then the majority of the decisions would be different. But that's not how we live life. So I think that's really kind of what she's trying to say. She's trying to say, I want you to look forward, and I want you to look at the tangible things you have, and the tangible things that you have are 2 children, regardless of biology.
And she gave that similar speech when they had the 2 bottles of wine.
Exactly.
Like
But it's still okay. Well, we can move on. But those 13 years, from his perspective, it's a lie.
yeah, well, yeah.
I want to read what
So
Olivia
it's
said at the table.
difficult.
I think it's different too, because Olivia did. She broke down the barrier and had a personal connection with Sarah when she had that wine. And I think that's another reason why she got a little more involved than maybe she would have in another situation. And when she was sitting at that table, she said, you messed up and that's a price. Well, first of all, let's address the fact it was a $300 bottle of wine. I thought it was funny, especially when Sarah said that this is a special occasion. So her husband called her a whore. And then she said, you never told him the truth, so you let him believe a lie. And she said, you messed up and there's a price. Betrayal always has a price. You can't change the choice you made, but you cannot let it ruin you. You have to forgive yourself.
She was speaking about herself.
Exactly. She was speaking about herself, but they formed that personal connection. They formed that personal connection. Yeah.
No, keep going.
And I was going to say they formed that personal connection. I think that's one of the reasons why she felt like, I don't know if she feels her duty to fix them, but I feel like it was just a little more of a push for her to try to fix them too. In addition to what Sofia said too, is she had to close off the situation, but.
Yeah.
Also, too, though, I think there'd actually somewhat be a difference if whenever Olivia is giving these speeches to forgive, even let's say to forgive herself, Olivia doesn't actually do it, right?
Right.
So again, it's not actually like she's doing it for herself. I think she's just having these epiphanies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
She's having these epiphanies based on the circumstances before her, right? Because haven't we all had, let's say, situations where either stuff's going on at work or things are going on with your friends, and it highlights something in your own life, and all of a sudden you get clarity? It doesn't actually mean you're going to change it.
Yeah.
So I think that if she actually was changing her own life, I'm not going to say that I would think that it was worse, but I would think that it was worse. I think all she's really saying is like, oh my God, now I've seen clarity. Like, I have to share, because at the end of the day, we talk about this a lot, but she's a fixer. And yes, she's a fixer in terms of her clients, but in order to fix her like the situation and the scandal, she is actually fixing people. That's why she has gladiators. That's why she has Harrison and Huck and Abby, because she's fixing people. So it's always interconnected. That's why we don't have stories where it's simply like some company's going to go bankrupt and then that's all it is. It's a company's going to go bankrupt and there's a dad and a son and they're fighting and they're warring. It's always based on human beings, because that's all we really are human beings in relationships.
And speaking of bankrupt, one thing that we won't encounter is, let's talk about iTunes. I was
like, what? How are you gonna?
I was trying
awesome.
Go ahead, man. Do you?
So with iTunes, you know, you guys make sure that you guys go to iTunes and you rate and comment. You keep us in the top 10, keep us number 1, keep us at all those 100,000s of downloads that you keep us at. So make sure you go to iTunes, you tell a friend, tell your relatives, tell your coworkers, and keep us and all of everyone at AfterBuzzTV, keep the lights on, because we can't go bankrupt.
So just a quick story before we move on from this topic. You did try. Before we move on from this topic, because you brought up Harrison and Associates. Harrison did an excellent job in this episode, or at least he tried with the whole Ryo Corp thing, trying to keep Sarah from getting fired. Now, I don't really need to talk about that. He didn't succeed with that, but there was a nice moment between him and Abby later in the episode. What I want to talk about is Macy Gray was trending on Twitter.
That wasn't Macy Gray.
That was not
I know,
Macy Gray.
but it was trending on Twitter, and I clicked it, and I was like, what is Macy Gray trending for? Does she have a new single or something? It was talking about Scandal. People were talking about, oh, who is this broke down Macy Gray?
Come on, people.
And I said, that's the power of social media, because Twitter, like literally about 7 or 8 of the topics were all Scandal. And I was like, there's no way that this is related to Scandal. And lo and behold, it was. You go, Gladiators. You go. So we're going to talk about this hostage situation. So the hostage situation is going on, and Olivia meets up with Jake, and she gives him some fax documents that will help Jake get it to the right people. And before Jake actually gives it to the president later on in the episode, he meets with Olivia again, and the paparazzi snap a pic of Olivia and Jake. Now, the issue was Olivia said this happens all the time, it's no big deal. Olivia, that's a pretty big deal.
I think this is the thing, Izzo. It's a big deal because what's his title? He's Intel.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? So it's not a big deal for you, Olivia, but it's a big deal to normal individuals, especially normal government individuals who are like in charge of Intel. So to me, something about that didn't play well. I think I screamed at the television.
You did. And why didn't, once he entered from the backyard, why didn't she take him inside the house, being that look how easy it was for her to walk in. She waited for the media to have their little press conference, then they walked on the side. So if he walks into the house, then he walks into the back gate, the media obviously gonna think, well, who is this walking into the back gate? Let me go see who this is. Let me go have my camera. Could it be a brother? Could it be another person that she's having an affair? Like, that was just stupid.
But again, why didn't he walk her into the house? Because you're trying to tell me that Jake walked up, he didn't see nobody out there with cameras. He didn't watch the news the day before and saw the lawn completely filled with reporters. He didn't know anything that was going on, that he just sashayed in broad daylight to this house and went through the gate and thought that no one would see him?
No, but remember, it's connected to even Huck's conversation with Quinn, in plain sight. The best way to do things is in plain sight, and because of the gated area, I think that everyone until that gate was open felt safe that at least the paparazzi wouldn't go past the gate. Like, to me, I have an issue, but I'll talk about it offline, on the reporters being on the lawn. Like, I would have turned on the sprinklers, but that's a whole nother situation.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
But I think that in that zone they felt safe because then he was going to slip out the same way, because then no one would notice. If you actually try to do it in any other way, that I think would have raised a little bit more suspicion. So his actions, I didn't think that were weird. Her nonchalance regarding the situation, that I didn't like that.
While we're on the topic of the house looked very familiar to me, and so I was trying to figure out where the house is from. It looked like it's either from Money Pit, War of the Roses, or Mr. or Mrs. Smith, which Kerry Washington was in with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Yeah. But it's one of those 3 houses. Sorry.
No, you're good.
So anyone on Twitter, if you have already figured out who the house, or where the house had previously been seen, either on a TV show or a movie, please let us know.
That's
Thank
like
you.
last or 3 weeks ago when I said I couldn't figure out who that guy was, the guy who they thought was gay in the episode. He was from Mad Men. That's where I knew him from. Anyway, so President Fitz is still drinking the brown water, and I thought it was funny when we saw the dynamic between, what's her name, Lauren, his assistant, Lauren, Cyrus, and Melly when they were trying to get into the office. And I like how Melly's still trying to play the baby card, and she like has his baby in the head. Oh, he needs to see his baby, And even when Lauren informed the president, after so much persistence between Cyrus and Melly, that they were waiting outside, he only let Cyrus in, and then he talked with Cyrus for a bit, but then he still didn't let Melly in. He grabbed the baby and said, "I miss,"
and shut the door in her face.
Shut the door in her face. And I think,
but even the way that they spoke to Cyrus is like, yes, Cyrus, like he's.
The thing is, it goes back to what I can't really say for Fitz, he's playing the game, but it's annoying for me for Cyrus and Melly when you see their dynamic, because when Cyrus finally got in Fitz's good graces again for a little bit, then he was trying to act all, competitive towards Melly, saying, oh,
he should be. Look what she did to him.
you're in the White House and you're in
So
such a
what?
high position. This isn't the time to play petty little games between each other. Who's on Fitz's side right now? I applaud him for not letting Melly drag him into her drama with the whole love triangle thing, and him saying, I don't want to be part of that anymore because it's never gotten me anywhere anyway. But at the same time, just the way he's acting around the situation is just really petty to me.
It's petty, but listen, Cyrus said that he's living vicariously through him. He can't be president. He's gay. He doesn't have the looks. This is his life. And Melly jeopardized. Now, although Cyrus is guilty for what he was a part of, but I would be pissed at Melly too. And anytime that I had the upper hand, I would be like, what? I would do the same thing. It's politics. It's competitive. That's just me.
On the flip
Because Melly's
side,
one of those people that, she'll sell you out.
and on the flip side, you never know with Melly. She may have done that to him or said that. Like, she may have did it, like, gave a little smart comment. You never know with Melly. Sometimes she keeps a secret. Sometimes she'll throw it in your face. You just never know.
What I think Fitz should watch out for by pushing Melly away, Melly is always going to find things, and Melly's always going to try to figure things out. She's not going to just sit down and take it. And I like how she even went so far as to go look at Lauren's schedule and see what's on the schedule. That's how she saw the 9:30 time slot, and she's trying to figure this out. She finds out who this Jake Ballard thing is, and now she's trying to get into Cyrus's head again. So,
But she also thought that he was with her.
originally, but now she sees this. Anyway, I'm saying you shouldn't leave Melly be by herself and push her away and put her in these situations, because Melly's going to find a way to get back in your good graces and make sure that her political agenda is still on the front run.
I think, though, the problem is that Fitz always underestimates Melly. And so I think that he really considers her a non-factor. So I agree with you, Emile. No, no, don't say it. So I think that he doesn't value her. So at the end of the day, he doesn't even think enough to keep her close. Like, what is the saying? Like, you keep your friends close, but your enemies even closer. I don't even think he even thinks of her as an enemy. She's just there. So I think that you're completely correct, because this could blow up in so many different ways, because, again, that's, I think, why it was so important for Jake to get the picture from the photographer. And even though I think that when we were watching it and we obviously all realized it was Jake, that we were kind of like a little bit creeped out. I was creeped out, but I think he did what he needed to do, because at the end of the day, it was secret information gotten off of a thumb drive of a dead college kid. Do you know what I mean? Like, if any way all those connections, who's dead, who was murdered, all these other situations that got out, that could be really a big deal, especially how this is meant to tie up any holes in Fitz's presidency. This is supposed to, like, get him over the next hump and really make him seem presidential.
Completely agree. What I think is interesting, though, is how we saw, because I love editing, and I like how they did the play between the raid with the hostage situation, and then also with how Jake was tracking down the paparazzi. But when I first saw Jake, and we'll get into this on our last topic, but just in regards to this particular situation, when I first saw Jake, I wasn't necessarily threatened by him or scared, or I thought he might be a little bit fishy, but over time I was like, oh, he's not that bad of a guy. But every single episode is getting worse and worse. Like, even with the screams, when we saw in that one episode, I was like, okay, he's kind of creepy. But then when we found out Fitz was behind, I was like, okay, he's good. But no, this dude is a little creepy, and like, just the way he goes about situations. Like, Olivia, I feel like Olivia just needs to be more cautious, and I still don't understand why Huck hasn't swept her house, why she still, or they still treat her like she's just a normal person, especially when everybody says she's not. Like, none of them are normal. They're gladiators. I don't understand why certain things are happening to her, like how this guy has even gotten in her inner circle so quickly, even though he is intel. Like, why didn't...
Because Olivia keeps her personal life. And so that's why, she's pretty good at keeping her business on the low, obviously, because none of them know what's going on between she and Fitz. So this is more like her personal life, not her professional life.
But Olivia doesn't really keep her personal life, because she tries to help out all of the men in her life like using her career. Like she helped Jake out with the intel. She didn't have to give him that. They're not dating like that. She helped Edelstein out with his career. She helped Fitz out with his career, and every way that she helped them all, it was related back to her career. So she can keep a secret, but she doesn't keep business and pleasure separate at all.
But in giving the information to Jake, was she helping Jake or was she helping Fitz?
Both.
No.
So she was helping both of them. Like Olivia seems like she feels the need to help every dude she's interested in with their career. Like I get it, but
no. And see, in this one, I'm gonna have to disagree. I think that she was utilizing Jake because that was her connection potentially to Fitz, because it makes sense. He's intel, right? So it would make sense that he would have, informants or information that would come anonymously, and she knew that he would then have, because of his position, access to the president, and she couldn't give it directly to the president. I think he was just the conduit. I actually think in this scenario, she wasn't thinking of helping him. I think she was really, again, she was thinking about two things. I think she was thinking about helping Fitz, and at the end of the day, I think her overall moral compass is always sound. I think she really does wear the white hat, and she knew that information on this level needed to get to the people it needed to get to, because at the end of the day, regardless of whether or not they're just volunteers or they're CIA operatives, for the sake of the country, they need to be rescued or something needs to happen, and that information had to get to the right people.
But she was helping Jake in the sense of whoever gave Fitz this information, whoever was the decoy, he's gonna get shine. He came out of nowhere with this magical information that was used to save these hostages, and it just so happened to be Jake. It could be Keith, whoever, it could be whoever. But now Keith or Jake is like this like superhero guy. He's like, yay, Nick, you saved the day. So now Jake is getting extra shine because of Olivia.
That I agree with.
Yeah, I don't like how she always has to. Yeah, I completely agree. She always has to mix business and pleasure, and she can't seem to separate it.
Well, like Sofia says, in DC, it's all who you're surrounded by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of always mixes regardless. Quinn and Huck. I freaking love this. I love this new dynamic, and I know even season 1, beginning of this season, Quinn has not had a place. I love her character. Bamm, I like to always call her Chicken Head, but I love how her character has grown. I love seeing growth in the character. We saw Harrison's growth over time, and I am absolutely loving this because it's nice to see Quinn get a little bit of spotlight, but not to the point where she's an airhead. She's actually doing something. She's learning, and to see how excited she is to be put in these situations and to kind of go out of her character. I don't know, it's just really amazing to see. And what's going on with this situation is she's tracking the CIA director to see what's really going on, and she follows them to the dry cleaners. There was something before that, though. The bank. Yeah, she went. Wait, what happened with the bank?
She went into the bank and she came out and she was saying, maybe this is the place, basically, to Huck. And he was saying, no, why? And she said, because the teller is in their surveillance, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, no, that's not it.
And then that goes back to what we were saying about plain sight, because they went to the dry cleaners next. And then when they went to the dry cleaners, and here's the thing, this is what I wanted to ask you guys. So she follows them into the dry cleaners and she, listened to the number and stuff. First of all, I don't know if her plan was genius. Yes, she got the phone number, and it was just her awkward mannerism, because we were all screaming when he goes up and they say pick up or drop off, and he says pick up and he gives the number. And then the lady comes around and she says pick up, drop off, and Quinn stands there. You can be like pick up and give a last name or drop. It just happened. She was slow to the point where it kind of creates an awkward mood, and something's obviously wrong. And especially with the CIA director knowing what he's going there for. Now we know for sure he was going there for a pickup, knowing that he's there on a legal business and everything. Of course he's going to be aware of his surroundings and know when something fishy is going on. And Quinn was just standing there awkwardly, even with the brief eye contact they made, and then she did a quick look away. That's a tell. It's a tell, and it bothered me. And then I think the thing that bothered me later is I applaud her for when she went in there and she gave the number and she was all proud, oh, I got it, okay. And then Huck was like, okay, what are you gonna do now? And then she goes in the pocket and finds the money. Great, Quinn, you did a great job. And then she goes back inside and gives it back and says that she had a great story, my husband, blah, blah, oh, I have so much on my mind, all this stuff. How did she not think that the dry cleaning people wouldn't know? How did she not think they would be involved in any way? Because how would the money get in there without the dry cleaning people knowing about the situation? Who would put the money in there? Who would just go behind the counter and be like, oh, let me put this for... Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Again, My problem is then with Huck, not with Quinn.
Okay,
And Quinn is she's the rookie. She's the rookie stalker.
But do you think that Huck? Okay, go ahead.
My problem is with Huck too, because I was like, okay, Huck should be smart enough to know this, but also maybe what he's doing is he is teaching Quinn his profession. He's teaching Quinn this. So maybe Huck knows all of this is what's going on, and then maybe Huck will help her out at the end, or maybe he's going to see how far she buries herself before he comes to the rescue. That's the only thing I could think about, because all of the things that Quinn did, Huck knows this, and so maybe I'm trying to just find logic as to why he would allow her to go back into the cleaners, especially when there's money inside the pocket. Like when you're dry cleaning, they check the pockets, they do all of that. So the people at the dry cleaners know that. So therefore, Huck knows that those people have something to do with it. So the fact that he let her go back in there where she's potentially video camera, because all stores literally have cameras now. I'm just assuming Huck knows this, and maybe he's waiting to see how Quinn is going to get herself out of this situation, because he is teaching her. That's only logic that I could think of in my head.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And my reasoning behind it is, again, his nickname is Spinster. Huck's Achilles heel is emotion, like emotional connection. So arguably it was with, how come I can't remember her name? Kate, Becky, whatever her name was, right? Cocaine girl. Mm-hmm. His, ironically, Achilles heel is with Olivia, right? Because of an emotional connection. And now with Quinn, it's somewhat based on guilt, right? He still feels guilty about what he did. He knows that he had to do it, but at the end of the day, he still took her life. Arguably, he saved her life. But the fact that they're now kind of getting along, and now they have this new thing, and the very thing that she basically hated him for, his quote-unquote spy ability, now he's teaching to Quinn, they have a bond. So I think that because of that, he's slipping. Whenever he gets emotionally attached, he slips. Because
so
to me, it's the director of the CIA. This isn't some random little hacker dude that they're following. Like, this is one of the most important, from a security standpoint in the entire country. And you're just letting her, of all people, Quinn Perkins. Quinn Perkins follow the director of the CIA, right? Slight side note, let's not talk about it. I just want to talk about it just just say it on the air, and then we'll move on. He's the director of the CIA, right? And I could be wrong, but wasn't during the whole East Sudan picture thing, didn't Fitz fire the director of the CIA, or was it another government body?
I think it was the old director. I think so, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So he's the new director, right? So meaning presumably he was second in command. Maybe he was the one who faked the pictures, not the director. Think about it. If he's the mole, it's more than likely that he actually was the one who doctored the pictures and not the actual former CIA director. I think there's a bigger storyline there, and there has to be a connection.
Yeah.
I think there is a bigger storyline, but there is one thing, something that you mentioned. When Quinn was in the backseat of the car and she said there has to be a reason why he's going to the cleaners himself, because he can have anybody come to the cleaners. If that, Huck obviously was listening, so he may be emotionally attached, but Huck can't be that stupid. He knows something.
Well, no, he was going to the cleaners for the drop off.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that, like, although he's emotionally attached and that he's slipping, he can't be that far down the slope to where even when they realize that they were going that Osborne was going into the cleaners, obviously for some different kind of motive. Like, Huck isn't that far gone to where he is not aware of what is going on in the situation.
And I disagree because, again, she pulled out the bag of money, didn't have gloves on. Like, again, like, this is,
damn it. Yeah.
No, but this is like, and I don't mean to sound corny, but this is like Mission Impossible level stuff. So presumably it's not like he's just gonna like take out the money. Like, potentially he's gonna like scan a light over it to see if there are any fingerprints. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm being extra on purpose, but you just don't go in and randomly touch up on all the stuff and touch up on the envelope and you don't have gloves on and so forth and so on. So I think that he's using it as a teaching mechanism because he's involved in that, and somehow the severity of the situation, he's not, Because even at that moment, that's when he should have actually returned it. He should have said something like the next day or an hour later and been like, oh my God, my wife picked this up by mistake. Like, it's not my clothes. Like, something, he should have handled it. But at that moment, the minute there was like the cash, $20,000, you just don't let her go back.
Because at that moment, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, even furthermore, though, it doesn't only put Quinn in jeopardy, it puts Olivia Pope and Associates in jeopardy, because now her face is out there. As a CIA director, he's going to investigate and see where this girl is from. And it's going back to what you said, Sophia, like, it's like a rich person. If they had a Ferrari or Lamborghini and a Pinto, they're not going to let their 16-year-old brand new driver learn to drive in the Ferrari. They're going to put them in the Pinto. So I don't understand why on this high profile, like, this isn't, like you said, this isn't some play case.
But what's so brilliant about this show is we had this big scandal that dealt with Olivia and her issues. Now we're going back to the everyday weekly fix it. By the time we get to May, when it's time for the finale, we're going back to the issues that involve either Olivia, the president, and now Quinn and Huck.
Yeah.
So that's what's great about it is, like, they are, Huck is going down the slippery slope and he's not doing what he's supposed to do, but it's gonna make for a great cliffhanger for the season finale.
Yeah. So Olivia, Jake, and Fitz. Now, I touched on this earlier. Jake is a creepy man. Because
I don't see him as creepy.
Whoa. How do you not see him as creepy? Because when we went to that last scene, before we even talk about Fitz, when we went to that last scene, when he did that little smirk at the camera, that was so creepy. Am I the only one who thinks that was creepy?
But it was creepy and cocky. It was a little cocky. It was like you watching a Halle Berry movie as a dude, and then when you out to dinner with Halle Berry, you like, yeah, I got Halle Berry. Like, it's kind of like that. It was like a cocky move. Like, he was like, all right, cool. Like, he was on the couch.
I don't see it as creepy, especially when Fitz is the ringleader and why he's there in the first place. I don't see him as a creepy dude. I see Fitz.
Fitz did not tell him to get that much involved.
Fitz is
Fitz is creepy.
But Fitz is creepy, and that's like stalker type stuff. Like, he's stalking his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend. You know what I mean? But he's more creepy.
Well, I didn't say Fitz wasn't creepy. I'm saying they're both creepy. They're both two creepy dudes.
I mean, he is a little Fitz, little junior Fitz.
I don't know. I don't like where this is going. I don't trust. So who said it? She's dead.
No. That's not what I said.
Oh.
You mean at the end of the episode? Oh, no. I said he's going to tell her.
Oh.
But that's a prediction. Predictions. But this is the thing is, though, I'm not even gonna touch upon the creepy right now because I'm just not. But I actually just want to say that minus the creepy, right? At the beginning of the episode, when she's in his office and he comes in, I do think that there's and I want a different word because I actually don't want cockiness. It's more that he is very secure in who he is, right? And there's an ease with how they interact with each other, right? That I sometimes I don't see with Fitz and Olivia because I think that they're star-crossed lovers. So I think there's always such passion and intensity, and even though that intensity may be good,
Sophia,
it's always.
Can I just say maybe little Fitz, maybe because he's young, he's got a little swag to him.
That's actually a really good word to it. That's exactly a really good word.
Swag.
Or swagger. But I think that's exactly what it is. And so I think there's a confidence. And then I think that because of that confidence, and I don't think that the confidence is overpowering, I think then Olivia seems at ease. So I think she's a lot lighter. She's just more carefree than I think that we've seen her in a lot of other situations. And even for me, the way she approaches them about work situations doesn't seem as harsh. Like, and even she just says to him, okay, well, I was going to bring this up during dinner, but since we're not having dinner, like, what do you know about this? It seems somehow lighter than normal. It doesn't seem kind of like she's sucker punching him.
And also, there's an age difference. He's more Olivia's age versus Fitz and Edison, who is a little bit older. So it's a little, she feels a little bit different because she's with a guy who he has a different approach. He has a swag, and it's kind of a turn on to her because she's used to seeing someone who's older and different. I keep calling him Little Fitz, but Captain Jake, his whole approach is different. So it's refreshing and it's new for Olivia. So I think that's why there's the liking that she has for him.
I think, well, to me, it just looks like, and it may not even be this simple, it's probably not. It just looks like the difference between when you're dealing with a man who's available and a man who's not available. You're going to be more comfortable with the man who you're not worried about if somebody sees you. You're not worried about if he has a wife, if she's going to catch on, his kids find out, your career is down the drain. You're not worried about that. This man is available. She can be carefree. People take pictures. She's like, whatever. He's single. Who cares? Like she's dealing with someone. She came out of a relationship where she had to sneak. Her relationship was sneaking around. Now she's like, hey, cool. Like, she's a little more comfortable because the relationship and the situation is comfortable.
Oh, okay. Good point.
And in a way, like, going back to that, she has no guard. There's no Chinese wall between it. So it's a different, we're just seeing a different side of Olivia just because there's literally nothing between them. And it's, like I'm saying, it's almost too much trust between them right now.
But technically, they've gone on one date, and it was a half date.
Yeah.
They went to dinner. That got disrupted, he took her somewhere else, right? He took her to, I think it's one of the monuments. They started to have that little picnic, and then the phone rang and she had to leave. That's all they've had right now. Right now, they're very much in what I consider to be that initial flirty stage.
They're talking.
They're talking, and not even really, right? No, but seriously. And at the office, they were supposed to go to dinner, and that got interrupted. So presumably, him coming after, he has to wrestle the photographer and get the memory card. When he comes to her house, that's the first time, presumably, they're going to have any kind of real one-on-one interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is new to them, to Olivia, but he's been dating her on camera for the last 3 weeks.
Touching the screen and everything.
Yeah. Okay.
So what do you guys think about the whole conversation between Olivia and Fitz? Fitz called from Cyrus's phone, and then this was after he was drinking some more of that brown water, and he basically says, I wish you would have been honest with me if you didn't think I was fit to be president and all this stuff. And he goes on to say, I was calling because I was going to tell you to back off. And then he says, you ruined me. And then he said, I'm ruined. She said, I'm ruined. And I thought, once again, as far as editing goes, it was a nice contrast. We saw the conversation between Fitz and Olivia, and then the couple arguing in the background, because it's always Olivia seeing herself in that situation. And even though she wasn't directly listening, but we could see it, especially. I just really like the way they played that scene out. I don't know, because it's just a tricky situation. It's not playing games, but Fitz is just in a weird state, and I think I had to remind myself today that a couple of weeks ago, this is 10 months after, so a lot of time has passed since that defiance. It was 10 months, right?
It's now been a year.
Yes, so a lot of time has passed.
Babies damn near can walk.
No, but Cyrus made the point, remember, when he was talking to Melly, he said it's been a year since he's mentioned divorce, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so all this time has passed, but there's still like these wounds that are very, very fresh.
Because anger goes through different levels. It's like if you break, let's say this was a regular relationship and they broke up. When you break up, you go through sadness. Then you go through anger. Then you go through resentment. Then you try to force yourself to hate his guts. Then you start getting down on yourself. Like, it's a whole wave.
Yeah.
Fitz is just, now it seems like he's going through the bitter phase. He seems very bitter about like the whole situation.
As he should be.
Well, I wish that somebody would talk to him about the brown water, though, because he's going to keep staying in that one phase if he doesn't put the...
He's the president of the United States. He has completely shut everyone off. It's not like the president, it's not like the president can just call up anybody or call up his homeboy and be like, yo, I got a problem. Like, he has Cyrus, and Cyrus is already on the outs. He has no one to talk to. He has no one at all. Olivia was that person that they have that little pillow talk late at night. He's lost Olivia. He's lost the only person that he can talk to, that he can confide in and not worry about anyone else. He doesn't have anybody.
Yeah, he said, you're all I had.
Yeah.
But I get it. I get that he's upset, he feels betrayed, but I'm waiting for Fitz to get to the side of of the healing process where he thinks that maybe they put their careers on the line for him. Because even though, they lied and they agreed and they put defiance, and they said, we're going to do this to get Fitz in office. If it comes out, or if it ever came out, not only is Fitz living a lie, their careers are ruined as well. So to me, what they did was, it was shady, but they did something that could destroy all of them.
No,
and at some point, but even though if you don't accept it, and even though you're not gonna go with that thought, it seemed like Fitz has never even taken that into account.
But Kennelia, you have to think about it. It's not like it's like if you guys had co-hosts, got together and got me a job on Extra TV with Maria Menounos. That's different from the President of the United States. Like, okay, you guys. I was
like, where's he going with this?
You guys got yourselves together, and you did whatever you had to do in order to get me a job. And now I'm with Maria at the Grove on Extra TV. That's different. The President of the United States, like, that's different. Like, it's one thing to get me a job at something at that level where you can kind of be forgiven because I'm probably just as good, but there's other situations. This is the top job of the United States. So by them doing what they did to get him to be president, that's basically saying that you couldn't do this on your own. That's different to me.
And I totally get it, but I'm thinking again, I wonder if he will ever look at it from the perspective of, if it comes out that I didn't really win the election, Fitz, I will be basically the president who wasn't really president, and they're going to jail. Because Fitz, like, you know what I mean? Fitz, he's the victim. He's their victim.
But because they're allowing him to be. Their actions are like, think about it. All of them, especially Cyrus, is acting so unlike Cyrus. There's a point when maybe Cyrus should have been like, no, you couldn't have been president. We've been, seriously, I'm just being rude. We've been your team from the beginning. You've never realized. Hopefully now you realize it. Can we get back on track? No, everyone acted as if he actually, in fact, was the victim. Melly changed up. Melly doing things in the shower Melly's never done before. No, seriously. Cyrus acting with his head down at all the time, saying, yes, sir, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Being okay with not being involved in stuff instead of coming and basically being like, what the are you doing, right? And then Olivia is actually the only one still very much acting like Olivia, and that's why on some levels their relationship is still how it always has been. So even though it seems like they're on the outs, they've had several moments or time periods, because I never realized it until the, I think it was a WTF episode, that was the first time that they'd actually had intercourse since she left the White House. So they've gone long periods of time where they either haven't spoken or they've been on the outs. But ironically, he's still talking to her about it. Even though she's the one who hurt him, she's still the only one he can talk to about it. And that's actually what he's doing. So on some level, there's some healing. Even though he's saying, I don't care, he's still really talking to her about it. Because it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, if you love someone so much that the only one who can fix it is the one that can hurt you, that's still the one you're going to talk to.
And Sophia, not only that, but when he called, like, he said, the reason that I'm calling, but they talked about their problems before they spoke about what his quote unquote reason for calling. So that says a lot.
Yeah, and they've never had the chance to even argue it out. They've never really discussed it.
That was a reason for him to call, hear her voice, kind of,
And just to piggyback off of that, or to kind of wrap it up a little bit, is that, again, it started with Cyrus poking him, right? Because Cyrus was like, what did he say? If Liv had gotten her to deny it, Cyrus knows what he's doing. Does it make sense? Cyrus was poking him, right? So then what does he say? He goes, I need a minute, 1 minute, right? Then you have the music. It was different music, but the tonality was similar, right? And then what does he do? He calls Olivia. Yeah. So again, whenever that 1 minute, to me, symbolizes truth. It symbolizes clarity. So even though there have been moments when that music has been played in this season that's very different than the first season, whenever he needs clarity, she's still his moral compass, and he still leans to her. Even if it seems as if he's being disrespectful, he's still crying out to her like, you hurt me, because basically what he's really trying to say is fix it. He's trying to say fix it. He's like, you ruined me. He wants her to say something and to do something to heal the wound.
But does he want her to fix him and make her pay at the same time?
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't think so.
A little bit.
Is he gonna make her fix it and punish her while she's trying to fix it?
Well, no, but I think this is the thing is, and it's kind of similar to what she said at the table with the client. Only if you allow him to. Seriously, this isn't some, like, they're not handcuffed together. You can only allow someone to punish you if you think you're worthy of being punished. The minute she realizes that she made the best decision that she could at that time period, and even if it was a bad decision, she's a human being. Forgive yourself. The minute you forgive yourself, that's when, like, not to sound like a wall goes up, and not in a bad way, but in a way that it's like she's gonna talk to him differently, and she can no longer allow him to punish her or for his self-loathing to affect her, because if anything, that's exactly why you couldn't win in the first place.
And you know, just to jump on what you were saying, Sophia. So Olivia is the only one out of that 5. Well, now because Werner's dead, Olivia is the only.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, poor thing. She's the only one that, in some shape, form, or fashion, she has tried to explain to Fitz her reasons for what she did. Cyrus, after what you said, I totally agree. Cyrus needs to buck up and get the president together and be like, look. And Olivia is the only one in some way that has tried to tell Fitz her reason for why she did what she did. Cyrus, Emile, and everyone else, they're just accepting this.
We need
this
one
change.
of those monologues like first season when he first found out about the affair between Olivia and the president. We need one of those, just one of those monologues where, because remember, right after that, the president snapped back and he became the president again.
Yeah.
So, and then this is the last thing. As far as I'm going through the stages, I just realized this, you know, he is dealing with it, but he has so much to deal with because first it was, okay, I didn't actually win the election. You probably dealt with that. Then it's, oh my God, all these people lied to me. Then it's, oh my God, I just lost the woman I love. Then so it's like so many
Then
different.
it's I killed Werner.
Yeah. So he's
I'm a
dealing
murderer
with
now.
he's dealing with so many different things. So every time, that's why he couldn't put the brown water down. Every time he deals with one thing, something else pops up, and it's like he can't catch a break.
And he doesn't have anybody, and you know,
He doesn't have anybody being true to themselves to finally speak up to him and snap him out of it.
Yeah.
And this is where it's funny, but he's being a better president.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the only thing he has to focus on is his job. Is, you know, like when you go through a breakup, you get more career oriented. Like you're like, you know what, I'm gonna get my career back on track. You start, you know, like doing what you love. You start taking up hobbies. You hang out with your friends. You know, you do
Because success
things.
is the best revenge.
It is. Yeah. I know.
You know, huh?
Well, guys, it was great talking about this particular episode, but we do want to continue the conversation online. But now we're going to go to news and gossip. Why'd I say it like that?
AfterBuzz TV News.
I don't know. You were like in your reporter voice.
I know, right?
News and gossip. Okay, and so we want to give a shout out to one of our gladiators. We got these great keychains from Enza Marie, and it says Gladiator Bamm, Gladiator Sofia, Gladiator Emile, and Gladiator Kennelia. And so we got this a couple of weeks ago, but we were for Valentine's Day, but it was during a hiatus. And so we wanted to wait until all 4 of us was back together so that we can just say to you, Enza, we want to thank you for these Gladiator keychains.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I wear mine. Listen.
No, it
Got
makes
my
me feel so
library
special
card
at work, at the place that I work at. We actually kind of have to valet our cars. So sometimes at the end of the day, they kind of like have brought all the keys downstairs and they haven't organized them yet. And I can always find mine. I'm like, it says Gladiator Sofia, and now they know it. So they like pull my keys out really quickly.
I didn't even realize the girls, when they have this little red jewels here, ours don't have. That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that either. Yeah.
But thank you so much. We really do appreciate it.
Gladiator Bamm.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Enza.
you.
We really, no, seriously, made me feel so special when Bamm told us.
I don't know
was
about
like,
y'all.
oh my God.
I get compliments on it too because people are like, "Where'd you get that from?"
Yeah.
Exclusive.
I waited till today to put it on the keychain. I was waiting for you guys, but clearly you
Oh, I
didn't
did
wait.
not. I did not wait. I'm sorry.
Wait for
I
me.
did have mine on there.
Me too.
Been on there for weeks.
Yeah.
Sheesh, man.
And I think it's time. My phone dropped. I think it's time for shout outs.
Okay. All right, it is one of our favorite parts of the show. But before we actually do our normal shout outs, we have to definitely give a shout out to two gladiators that did the show for Boom Goes the Dynamite. They did an absolutely amazing job. Mr. AJ Gibson and Mr. Zoe Alexander. You guys you rocked it. Like, you rocked it like true gladiators, and you guys were absolutely amazing. Also want to give just a special shout out to Watchtower Base. Always keeps the chat roll going. Like, it doesn't matter if we're late, he lets you guys know. So from now on, if you're ever wondering kind of what's going on, go to the chat roll right on AfterBuzzTV.com, and it gives a good analysis of what's going on for those of you who watch us live. Sometimes we're a little bit late just because of other shows in the lineup.
And follow him on Twitter, because he tweets the updates too. So if we're behind, he tweets it out.
Yeah, and his Twitter is @WatchTowerBase. Okay, so now to our shout outs for this week, again, for iTunes, Twitter, and YouTube. And the reason that we do this is because we really appreciate you gladiators for watching us, for listening to us, to subscribing on iTunes and telling a friend. So we're starting out with iTunes. We have Art Dasher, Dang Yaya, Donica Durden, Gunny's Girl, Junit 718, Mars Bar Caro, Pat Lives in Kentucky, TT Lolo 515, Yari 565. And for Twitter, we have All About Rollin', Alpha Beta 87, Free MDD, G Danny, HJ Luther _BSW, Janica, KBI Solutions, Kit Kat Chats, Marquette Jones. Oh, I love that name, Marquette Jones. New Orleans BB, Scandal Swagger, our word of the day, Scandalversary, Sequoia Sade, Soraya, Soraya Tweets. And for YouTube, we have 83 Pacific, Amari Garden, Be Nice UK, Cassie G, Champiz, Channy Fan 14, D Deshia 123, Elm Rose 1475, Fidela 11, Gladiator in Harlem, Gypsy Marie 01, Jane Blaze, Ginger Bar, Jules McKenna, Ked Zoe, Kiana Parks, Kyrab 2001, LD Clark, Lala Rose, Lativida, Lauren Reich, Man, I always forget, I can never read these ones properly. Man UNTD Forever. Oh, Man United Forever. Marsha Rose, Mariama Amina, Mika Jackson, Miss Lean, Miss Delinia, Miss Dinalia, Nicole Beauvoir, Olivia Pope, Out Late 06, Pixie Girl 999, Purple Girl, PVB 31 Woman, Real Chick Forever, Eva, Rosie Farrell, Shannon Lashley, True Beauty Never Fades, Twins Gemini 123, Wesley 0421, and You're an Illusion. So again, thank you, gladiators, for watching us on YouTube, for listening to us on iTunes, and just for all of your comments on Twitter. So again, as always, continue the conversation on either YouTube, Twitter, on iTunes, and for iTunes, always rate, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yes.
And if you guys like our keychains, you guys can go to Enza's website, which is Downrange Designs. So Downrange Designs, if you guys want to get your own gladiator keychain.
But we'll literally, either tonight or in the morning, we will definitely tweet all that information out as well.
And I think it's time for predictions. I'm doing like all these crazy voices tonight.
You're feeling yourself because you've been on TV.
Anyway, all right. So my prediction is that we kind of talked about it earlier. I think that something big is going to go down as far as Melly, because I don't think that you should leave Melly to her own and kicking her out like that and shutting her out. I think that something big is going to happen regarding Melly, and she's going to really kick Fitz in his ass.
My prediction, I think eventually, of course, Fitz will find out that Jake and Olivia are hanging out or dating or whatever you call it, and I think it's gonna be that situation where you see your woman with another man, and then you all of a sudden want her back. I think it's gonna be that situation. I think the bitterness is gonna turn into like that lost love, and he's gonna be like, he's gonna try to pursue her at the same time as Jake. That's what I think. I don't know.
I alluded to it during the episode. I think Jake's gonna tell her. I'm not quite sure if Jake's going to tell her that it was the president that told him to spy on her, but I think he's going to tell her that he was told to spy on her. And I think that the reason being is twofold. Even though there's something creepy about him, there's something genuine about him. I think because at the end of the day, he's not doing this because he's creepy. He's doing this because he was told to do so by the President of the United States of America, and this is his job, and this is part of his training. So the fact that he then has some feelings toward this woman, and then again, whether or not that coffee, the coffee interaction was calculated or not, it's hit or miss, because at the end of the day, he's still doing surveillance, right? But that still allowed them to talk, where he's like, oh, she's witty banter. I think that's really what's going to happen, and then it's going to test her on whether or not truth or betrayal is the important thing, because we've been having this whole conversation that the betrayal is in not telling, not in the doing something wrong, but in the not telling. So if he tells her, then she's not betrayed.
Right.
We'll see.
I think for Fitz, the drinking is gonna come into play, and his drinking is gonna cause him to react once he finds out that Captain is with Olivia. So that's what I think. And then as far as the Huck Quinn situation, Osborne is gonna go after Quinn, and I'm gonna go completely far left. I think that Osborne is gonna try and have Quinn killed, and maybe she'll die. Maybe they'll kill her off.
Oh, I hope not.
At the season finale.
Oh God. Poe Quinn.
So,
He trying to get you. Okay, I'm not gonna go ahead. Where can we follow you guys?
you didn't give your prediction.
Yes, I did. That was the first one.
Oh, my bad.
Hey, man.
Where can we follow you?
On Twitter at Sofia Stanley.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Big Six Entertainment. Sorry.
And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Kennelia.
And I changed all my username. You can follow me on everything at Emile Ennis Jr. And make sure you go to youtube.com/ChasingLA to watch my web series. New videos every Monday through Friday. We will see you guys next week, same time, same place. Gladiators, we love you, and we love doing this after show, and we're so happy to be back. Put us in #1. We love you guys.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. I say buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.